This is an instrumentation camera view of the cockpit area of an F-106B, built by General Dynamics Convair Division. As a report on the F-106 Advanced Escape System, it will show the live ejection to demonstrate the high order of confidence development personnel have in this system. The concluding phase of the escape system test program utilized a two-seat F-106B. The aircraft assigned to this project had been used to make 12 dummy subsonic and supersonic ejections. Personnel from Convair checked and double-checked the seat system and test equipment to ensure good test data as well as the safety of the live subject. This particular test, however, required a close integration of team effort from defensive equipment system engineering crew stations and aerospace medical labs at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. The man was Technical Sergeant James A. Howell, a jump master assigned to the 6511th Test Group at El Centro, California. A veteran of over 400 jumps, Sergeant Howell had previously made 2 drop-type jumps from a C-130 in the supersonic F-106 seat. The personal equipment utilized for the jump was a CSU-4/P partial pressure suit, standard flight boots, and an MA-3 helmet. By standard safety requirements, Sergeant Howell wore a reserve parachute with a special chest protector to prevent undue pressures from reserve chute fittings during launch. The seat itself, although augmented by special instrumentation, was essentially the same as the production escape systems for the F-106. In the early morning hours of June 6, 1961, Sergeant Howell, jump master, and Major G.D. Hendricks, pilot, were completing their check-off lists prior to flight. Every little item was checked again and again to ensure the instrumentation as well as the physical success of the project. The test called for the live ejection to be made at 22,000 feet at an indicated airspeed of 337 knots. For complete observation of the various test events, chase aircraft, instrumentation cameras with high frame rates, and helicopters were programmed. The chase camera, operating at 400 frames per second, would lengthen the ejection sequence from approximately 2 seconds real time to nearly a minute viewing time. An instrumentation camera speed of 200 frames per second was activated by the pulling of the D-ring to catch the retraction of the foot pans and raising of the seat pan and leg guards. Another camera in the cockpit showed the man and his equipment to be in excellent condition from the moment of canopy jettison through elevation and rotation. Yet another camera, mounted in the fin tip, revealed that there was no head snapping. Stabilizing boom deployment and liftoff were clearly shown as smooth and even. Chase camera studies clearly revealed the rapid separation from the aircraft and more than adequate fin clearance, followed by smooth deceleration. Throughout this slowed down sequence, there was no evidence of excessive wind blast on the occupant at any time. The F-106 Advanced Escape System allowed its occupant the ability to control any seat roll by shifting his body position slightly during free fall to 15,000-foot altitude. At this point, the aneroid-controlled drogue gun fired and deployed the drag chute. Clean seat separation occurred immediately. A 1 1/2 second delay allowed the subject to decelerate gradually, then the main chute deployed as designed. The project had already established several pertinent facts of significant test value. Elevation and rotation of the seat was as expected. Foot retraction performed as scheduled. There was no adverse wind blast effect, nor head snapping evidence, and no hang-up of equipment during seat-man separation. Since all communication links had been severed at the time of ejection, Sergeant Howell signaled that he was all right by prearranged sign, spread eagling his arms and legs. After jettison of his reserve chute, the sergeant landed only feet away from his target point. The elapsed time for this test ejection was 1.1 second, from pulling the D-ring to launch, and another 3/4 second of rocket propulsion to free flight clear of the aircraft. Prior testing had spanned a 4-year period to guarantee its success. Wind tunnel and slingshot testing, daisy track experiments, sled testing at Hurricane Mesa, and at the Air Force Flight Test Center at Edwards all led to operational utilization. Its success can best be measured by the only man to test it, Sergeant Howell. In reliving the ejection during the debriefing, the sergeant made these comments in answer to specific questions.
Did you feel the severity of the acceleration forces either during ejection or launch?
Like I said before, it was real smooth. Like somebody picked me up like this, not throwing me, but just lifted my body real gentle.
So you feel there were no severe G loads
Right.
at any point?
When you launched, did you notice, were you aware of any rocket blast on either side?
I didn't see a smoke, I didn't feel nothing.
Were you comfortable?
Oh yes, very good. Everything was all beautiful. Especially when you're just, everything is just stable. You could see everything, just like I'm sitting right here. Everything was real smooth.
Would you classify the impact on drogue chute extraction there?
I can't say it was a real hard opening because this is expected, and I think it's the most wonderful thing that can happen to a man.
Jim, did you notice any hang-up during separation?
No. Yes.
Your feet?
As soon as the drogue chute fired, I stopped and the sea just streaked past me.
No tugging of the personal equipment leads?
Nothing. Everything is just perfect.
When you started the separation, and your separation from seat from the subject, did you feel any undue pulling on your feet as far as the stirrup?
No. But everything was perfect. If you want to eject, V-seat is the way to do it.
This test concludes the supersonic escape project. It has established the operational readiness of the F-106 Advanced Escape System. It is being retrofitted to all F-106A and B all-weather interceptors for the protection of the U.S. Air Force personnel.
Time 42, correction time 43, over. Runway 33, stand by, Roy. Runway RCR 17.
Taxi in position and hold, acknowledge. Taxi in position and hold, acknowledge. Blanco Dart, taxi in position and hold, acknowledge.
Blanco Dart, taxi in position and hold.
Taxi in position and hold right now.
928, Joe.
Sneaky one cleared for takeoff.
Captain Steve Ritchie has become the first Air Force ace of the Southeast Asian conflict by downing his 5th MiG-21. Captain Ritchie's commander, Colonel Scott G. Smith of the 432nd Tactical Fighter Reconnaissance Wing, commented that to shoot down a MiG-21 is quite a difficult feat. To bring down 5 of the Blue Bandits is an unparalleled achievement.
Fire away. Would you like to describe how you got the 5th MiG?
Well, this was a pretty long and involved engagement. We started out about 80 miles away from the bandits, and Chuck picked them up a good ways out on the radar. From then on, it was a problem of getting them in sight. They were quite a bit higher than we were, and Chuck followed them right down the radar, and I began to make a stern conversion, what we call it, when they got in close. Picked them up high at 11 o'clock on almost a head-on pass, and from there maneuvered into 6 o'clock and fired a few missiles and was lucky enough to get a kill.
When did the reaction sink in that you got the 5th?
Well, when I saw the fireball, I knew it was the 5th. I was pretty excited at that time. Of course, the job wasn't over then. We were still in a pretty hostile area, and I knew there was another MiG behind us, and so we had to get the rest of the force home, and of course our 4 airplanes, and again there was a possibility of another MiG engagement and some pretty heavy defense on the way out, and fuel's always a consideration, so there was a lot to do from that point on. We didn't get real excited about it until we got out of the area.
How good does it feel?
Great, really great. And of course, the thing I'd like to emphasize here is this is probably the greatest team effort of any job that I know of.
Let's go get another bullseye.
One of the hot spots in the United States is the Gila Bend Gunnery Range in Arizona. Larger than the state of Delaware, it provides a tactical training area for fighter-bomber pilots. Here, pilots utilize several types of ranges to develop and perfect their combat skills with the complete weapons system.
Here in the 550th Tactical Fighter Training Squadron, we take pilots and navigators from either undergraduate training or other commands, and in the course of a 6-month training program, give them the basic skills necessary to make them a combat-ready aircrew member in the F-4 aircraft. In the case of Lieutenant Graninger, we have taken a pilot from undergraduate pilot training and added to his basic skills that he learned while in pilot training.
In the initial phases of the training here, you learn to fly the airplane, you learn to handle the airplane as it should be flown. And once you get to the ground attack and the ground attack tactical phase, flying doesn't become second rate, but it almost has to become second nature. ground attack tactical and the ground attack phase are very demanding on a student pilot, and that he's put in a new dimension that he has never seen before. For instance, in the 45-degree dive bomb pattern, the first time I ever flew it, it was a very unique experience in that you come down the chute so rapidly, you have to pull off 4 Gs in 2 seconds, make a 180-degree turn. In addition, there are switches to be set, mill settings to be changed, and by this time, it's almost time to roll down the chute again. It comes very fast.
Roger, Connie. Range 3 is cold at the present time. You're cleared in.
Modern electronic equipment in the Gila Bend range towers score the student pilot's hits instantaneously, enabling the range officer to relay the results to the pilot before his next pass.
22 hits, 2, ceasefire 2200.
I had 52 mils in there. Okay, take it back to 48.
Hits, 3, ceasefire 2300.
I'm really gonna hose one off this time. Two's in, target 1.
Fire 2.
2, high. 90 knots, 400 knots, speed set. Right angle's 15. 390 knots, 12 degrees. 400 ready. Fire.
22 hits, 2, ceasefire 2200.
I think the F4 RTU training program in all aspects has prepared me excellently for a combat situation. But the most important thing that no training program can give me is actual experience in a combat situation.
It's 3 a.m. at Hoffen, Iceland, and the personnel of the 667th Aircraft Control and Warning System are at this moment tracking a Russian bomber. The 667th motto is where the action is.
My name is Airman Wiley. Some of my jobs that I do as a ACNW operator is plotting behind the big board we have here.
I have an IP at 285 or 130.
So we plot all the tracks that radar picks up, so we'll know where they are at what times, and so we can identify them to be friendly or hostile tracks.
All right, second move on that IP. It's at a 285 for 119. All right, that IP is slow gen 10 and is at a 282 for 107.
24 hours a day, we're always watching the skies, the scopes never go down, and we have men on duty all the time.
Okay, track 619 is at a 245 for 90.
Sometimes I think about the job I'm doing, and I feel sort of important to myself because I know we are one of the early warning systems for the United States, and if the Russians did pick this way to come, that we could warn the United States that an enemy is threatening our homeland.
Collision 10, target bearing 3003. 10, expedite port turn for target. Target now 8 miles from bomb release line. 10, target now bearing 290, 2 miles, min range. Roger, 10, Judy.
We get the word we have zombies coming in, and I wonder every time, are they coming this time, or, are they just playing with us again? We're always on the lookout for them in case one day it's not a game. In my spare time, I like to go down to the beach, and they have a lot of seals out there. Usually they're off on a big island off the coast a little bit, but lots of times you catch them in feeding on small fish and stuff. They're really fun to watch. They're a real curious animal. Like, you can make noises and stuff, and they try to come closer to see what you are. They're just as interested in you as you are in them. We also have a lot of other activities like bowling. I really enjoy bowling. It's one of my favorite sports. I'm not very good at it, but I like to bowl. I heard some guys talking, I believe it was Doc Wayne, said,
even though we're isolated here, I've been able to make the time pass by getting out and trying to explore the surrounding area. We have glaciers, glacial lakes, a fishing lake, which many of the people make use of, and an awful lot of very interesting terrain on which to either hike, climb, rock hunt. We've got quite a variety of rocks to be found up here, and also quite an abundance of waterfalls.
As the commander of the 667th AC&W Squadron at Hoffen, Iceland, I have a great responsibility as far as the detection and tracking of Russian aircraft. We're on the end of a chain of American radar stations that runs from Alaska to the eastern coast of Iceland. The surveillance mission is one at which we must always be ready.
Hey, Jim, it's Fat Albert.
The mechanic's not referring to someone else on the flight line. Fat Albert is the name used by a lot of flight line people when referring to the C-5. Having the largest load capacity of anything flying, the name really fits. With only one refueling stop, Fat Albert can transport more than a 60-ton load from Travis Air Force Base to Saigon, a distance of 7,600 miles. Operating cost of the C-5 in cents per ton mile is considerably less than the most efficient Air Force airlifters now in use. The C-5 can deliver virtually anywhere in the world, completely equipped combat units, support forces, and all types of supplies, including large and heavy weapons never before airlifted.
During my duty with SAC, I have been involved with both the nuclear and conventional readiness mission. I'm Lieutenant Billy Davis, Jr., 22nd Bomb Wing, March Air Force Base, California. We've had to deploy to sea on short notice to beef up our B-52 force. For many of us, it's meant more separation from our families and a few more sleepless nights. But the mission is to remain ready, and this demands just a little bit more of each one of us to get the job done.
Sophisticated aircraft, the best trained pilots and crews, and dedicated support technicians combine to fulfill the Air Force mission of remaining ready for any threat to the nation. The ability to remain ready will continue to depend on the standards of excellence that make the United States Air Force second to none.